Boy, do I have a surprise for you, because I thought this was going to be a nonsense patch, but it actually is pretty big because they're doing what's called an item distribution rehaul or item distribution overhaul. But before we get into that, let's just go over the brief summary. So buffing Brawlers, Ashe, Blitzcrank, Fiora, Yasuo, Acel, Syndra, built different, Cybernetic Shell, Electrocharge, High Roller, Ludens, Archangels, Quicksilver, Soraka Augment, and Zac Augment. So pretty much like they've been buffing Fiora every single patch. Interesting. Will she actually be good this time? I've been wrong about like multiple buffs in a row before, but let's see what they actually did this time. Built different, yeah, built difference kind of fell by the wayside. Cybernetics, I think all the cybernetics are a little weak right now. And then for the nerfs, we have Gadgettine, Vi, Nyla, Urgot, AFK, Golden Egg, Anima Squad Crown, Prankster, Gadgettine, Recon, Spellslinger Crown, and then the Camille, Draven, and Nunu Augments. I'm very curious what the Crown nerfs are going to be because I felt like they tried to fix them before, so obviously they are going to make further adjustments to them. Golden Egg, very interesting too. Is it the most OP augment? Who knows? Data-wise it is, but obviously there's a lot of bias to that because you only pick it if you're winning really hard. AFK, yeah, I thought this one was always really good. But after that, they're adjusting Underground and Janna, but let's get into the changes. So TLDR, the way items are distributed to players has been adjusted with the goal of making it more even between players in a game while still having unique variants per game. So I remember a discussion a long time ago where people said getting gold and items at different times were actually good for the game. And I thought I actually agreed with that. And then over time, there's some metas where items are very strong or gold is very strong, and it makes getting too many or too few components a little daunting. So another challenge is that getting gold early is much better than getting gold later. But there are also critical points where having more items is better than having the gold. So essentially, if on, let's say, stage 1, you get a lot of gold, and then all of a sudden, by the time you reach stage 3-7, you get all your items back, you're at an advantage over other people. This is because you got to econ the entirety of the early game, and then after that, you're strong enough to fight all the rounds in stage 4, because stage 4 is where the game pretty much begins. At the same time, if you got a lot of items early, and then you just get no other items after that, you could lose out on all the econ in the early game, and then on stage 4-1, sometimes you get fewer items than other people and you can't build that great of items, and then you get completely smashed, unless you just high rolled every single items based on your fewer components. But let's see what they actually changed. So you'll always get one of your bonus orbs on 1-2, you'll never be down more than 2 components at any point, and never for more than 1 stage, and you'll also have bonus orbs to compensate. I didn't know you could be down more than 2 components. I thought maybe like 2 was the max already, so apparently it was more before. I didn't actually count. I just kind of like to play the game instead of paying attention to all that, but that is pretty good overall. Bonus orbs now take value into account when given out instead of just quantity, and then there are some new unique variants of loot that can happen. I wonder what that's going to be. Onto the hero augment distribution. The TLDR is we're increasing the clarity, simplicity, and accuracy of hero augment distribution to ensure you get the most out of your 4 hero augment rerolls. Let's see what that means. The number of tailored augments with each roll is determined by your number of active traits, which includes threat and ace. Which slot is random changes with each roll. Okay, what does that actually mean? So when you have 0 active traits, you have 0 tailored slots, 1 active trait, 1 slot, 2 active traits, 2 slots, and 3+3 tailored slots. Makes pretty good sense, you know? You can't completely force a comp into one thing, and sometimes the randomness isn't that bad either. The 3rd slot is no longer locked into being a support augment. I actually heard it was like that before. I never really noticed it. Threat augments are more likely to show up if you are running a threat, fair enough. And hero augments on 3-2 and 4-2 can no longer show all units of the same tier. No 2-2-2s, no 3-3-3s, no 4-4-4s, sorry Wendy's, and then no 5-5-5s. I wonder why they actually did that. I thought these variations would be interesting because it is different from game to game. Obviously, have I liked these in the past? Have I complained about them in the past? Of course I have, but you know, maybe some variety is good because I pretty much complain about a lot of things. I don't know, sometimes you get really bailed out by a 3-3-3, so there's that too. Lowered the chance of seeing a 3-cost hero augment on 4-2, and then stage 4-2 hero augment odds are being changed from 65, 30, and 5% to 40, 55, and 5%. Oh, so that's pretty much just talking about the change up here. I'm assuming this is 3 cost, 4 cost, and 5 cost. Chance of 2 cost augments upgrading to 3 cost on 2-1 is being lowered by a lot. Okay, yeah, that's really good because those games were kind of annoying because you kind of just force a 3 cost comp and then you just go from there. Does this mean even if you reroll, you still have the tailored slots? I would assume so, because before you couldn't get the same augment before, so when it rolled the same augment, it gave you a random one. Maybe it actually still does that. We'll have to see. Large changes, traits. Brawler is getting some additional HP, so they're getting a bonus buff from, let's see, they changed the 6 Brawler by 5% and the 8 Brawler by 11%. Is that going to bring Jax back? There's a lot of bugs with Jax. I think hopefully they fix them. I forget if they fixed them last patch or not. I'll be honest, guys, I did not play last patch because like I was just away. But gadgeteen damage and damage reduction per item is being reduced at 5 gadgeteen. Really? They're that strong? I guess it was an AP patch. Like I did notice and say last patch that like when you buff AP like 50 billion times and nerf everything else, like the AP comps are going to be slightly stronger, right? Like it just makes complete sense. Underground average payout reduced at heist levels 1, 2, 3. Underground average payout increased at heist levels 4, 5, 6, 7. So lower heist, not as big payout. Higher heist, much bigger payout. Yeah, it's more go big or go home. It makes it so that like getting underground early isn't like an auto top 4. And yeah, like if you really get a lot of underground early, it should make for some interesting games. Probably should have been like this from the start, to be honest with you. Units tier 1, Ashe, Ranger's Focus duration, 4 to 5 seconds. Blitzcrank AD increase. Blitzcrank's going to whack some people down now. Blitzcrank mana is being reduced a bit, so he's a bit tankier. I always thought Blitzcrank was kind of fine. His traits just kind of suck. It's like Brawler, which is just a generic tank trait. Nothing like good or bad about it. It's just average. And then Admin, like, did any of the admins actually help him that much? Not really, right? Units tier 2, Fiora AD is being buffed up a little bit. Fiora on guard 80%, being buffed up by a decent amount too. Vi Blast Shield, nerfed a little bit. Was Vi actually that good? I guess it's an underground unit, right? So you kind of just played her for that. So interesting thing about Fiora is that they wanted her to be a tank and they buffed up a lot of her tank stats, but now they're buffing up her damage a little bit. So maybe she could kind of do both things. I don't know. Maybe like a Titan's Resolve build could kind of work on Fiora. If I compare like the carry augment of Fiora versus like, let's say Vi, for example. Like Vi with the Titan's Resolve is just so good, right? But Fiora with one, I don't feel the same power. I wonder if that's like they should be the same power or should not be the same power. Obviously, they have different traits and stuff, so it's a little hard to compare, but they are both 2 costs at the end of the day. Yasuo mana being reduced a bit. I feel like they might need to buff the Yasuo carry augment. Maybe that's the only time he can kind of be played right now. Units tier 3, Nyla Apotheosis heal is being nerfed a little bit. Yeah, that's pretty well deserved. The Nyla comp's kind of obnoxious, right? Like, it's not like I told you guys it was coming, right? Because it was the only good comp from like 2 patches ago that didn't get touched. So they are touching it a little bit now. It's not that much, still going to be good. We'll have to see all the other changes too. Units tier 4, Acel, attack speed being increased. Yeah, Acel's never found his spot as like a solid carry. Maybe he was never meant to be like a primary carry, but I feel like if you compare him to Bel'Veth or something, like Bel'Veth definitely does like auto smack some games, but I've never seen an Acel 2 just like solo carry. Units tier 5, Janna Twister damage is being buffed up a little bit. Stun duration being nerfed at 2-star. Forecaster Windy, 80 and AP every 5 seconds is being nerfed a little bit. Yeah, this is probably the most popular one. Syndra Force of Will damage is being increased. Okay, so she's actually going to hit decently hard now. This is like, percentage-wise, it's pretty big at 1-star, but obviously she didn't do that much damage before. It's like multiplying 1 by 2.5. You get plus 1.5, you know? It's not like you're multiplying like a million by 2.5 or anything, right? If we're talking about like dollar amounts, for example. Syndra's stun duration is being increased at 2-star. Yeah, people always said Syndra 1, Syndra 2, no diff. Maybe there is a diff now. Maybe you actually do want to upgrade your Syndra 2. A lot of times, a lot of high-level players, when I watch them at least, they have 2 Syndras, one on the board, one on the bench. And then eventually, like if they need to level up or something, or they need to buy another legendary pair, they sell their Syndra. And it's just like, they always say the same thing. Syndra 1, Syndra 2, no diff. Urgot AD nerfed a little bit. Mana is being nerfed as well for the starting mana. Yeah, Urgot's just like Giga OP all the time. Probably will be, so he's always going to be like the win more type of character. Maybe they should just reduce his damage even more so than this. Just have him be like a bard or something like that. Items, Archangel Staff starting mana is being buffed up by 15. They really like the starting mana kind of like mechanic in terms of changing items. I don't know what to think about it, to be honest. QSS, immunity duration buffed up a bit. Rapid fire cannon, attack speed increased. Infinity Force crit chance removed. Wow, they've spent so much time adding it in, and now they're removing it. So, very interesting. Chainsword Bloodthirster is being buffed by 20%. Omnivamp being buffed too. These are all like the Radiant items, I believe. Radiant Archangel starting mana, same mana buff, and then more AP. Radiant Bloodthirster. Oh wait, this is the Gadgeteen item. Never mind. Radiant Bloodthirster, AD up, Omnivamp up, HP shield up. So I'm pretty sure they just looked at the stats of every Radiant item and adjusted them accordingly, because I see like Bramble Vest was always really popular. Radiant Locket, really good too, and those both are getting nerfed. Same for the ZZ Rod, now that I see it here. Titans was always one of the worst ones for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe just like the math didn't add up, but they are buffing it now too. But a lot of times data can be good, and for something like Radiant items where you don't get a lot of practice on each one of them, it can be a very useful tool. Hero Augments, Camille Adaptive Defenses, AD Shields being nerfed a little bit. Draven League of Draven bonus AD is being nerfed as well. Soraka Infused Mana per 5 seconds buffed. Interesting. I always thought this one was fine. It really just depends on how strong Soraka is in the meta. Zac Elastic Slingshot Stun Duration being buffed. Yeah, like, this one looks annoying and it sucks facing it, but if you really look at it, it's like pretty weak compared to everything else, right? They see me rolling, starting AP being nerfed a bit. Yeah, like Gadgeteens are probably too good, and getting a free Nunu with this was probably even better for them. For Camille and Draven, yeah, this Camille one is just way too strong. Like, it makes a difference between not having the augment and having the augment for Camille carry. Like, the difference between S++ and like A tier or something like that, or like B+. So it was always weird that was kind of the case. Augments, AFK gold granted nerf by 2. I wonder what the correct number for AFK gold is. That one's really hard to say, because it really depends on the meta. It depends how important health is early. It depends how important gold is in the meta. Like, I know gold is always important in TFT, but some metas it's more important than others. So that's really kind of just like a situational augment, like at all times, right? Like, it's either like really good or really bad, since it's so like polarizing. Built different HP buffs for 2 and 3. They don't seem like that big of buffs. These are all like stage levels, in case you guys were curious, because built different, it scales based on your stage. Cybernetic Shell, armor is being increased by actually like a fair amount, because like just a tiny bit of armor when like you have a unit without any defensive items, it means a lot, because the first armors are more important than the later ones. Electrocharge 3 damage is being buffed up a bit. High Roller, you get more gold. Yeah, this one was really weak. Remember in the beginning of the set, everyone was doing like the threat high roller strategies. You don't really see that anymore. Luden's Echo 3 damage is being buffed. Yeah, for some reason, all the Ludens, despite being an AP meta, they all were like slightly weak, at least according to the data. Golden Egg turns to hatch is being nerfed by 1 turn. Anima Squad Protector's Vow is being changed to Tira the Goddess? Whoa. Wait, they're changing all of these. Morella Namakan to Giant's Belt. Onyx Spark to Neck. Handed Justice to Recurve Bow. I mean, the items make sense for the comp, but like, can you guys believe that for this one and this one, for this one and this one, they used to give best in slot items. Like, this would give a Jeweled Gauntlet. This would give a Ionic Spark. That is crazy. Prismatic Emblem Augments had been a little too dominant, so we're reducing the items offered. But I feel like they should make this for like all the crowns, not just like some of them, because it's weird when only some of them get affected. Man, that's actually crazy. User interface. Oh, there are no small changes. Interesting. Team Planner. Use Team Planner before a game by clicking the helmet guy icon to the right of the Find Match button in your lobby in the TFT Home tab. Arrange, save, craft your dream team or meme team using the planner. Then you could click save. Yeah, I've heard about this, but it's not really going to do that much. 32-bit client depreciation. Support for 32-bit Windows OS will be deprecated on April 4th, 2023. After this date, a 64-bit version of Windows will be required to play League of Legends. Okay. Yeah, I don't know who has a 32-bit Windows. I think I've had 64 for like a pretty long time, but obviously like I can afford it. Not everyone can afford it. Yeah, I guess it's hard to support everything. Like, eventually it has to get phased out, right? Like, are they going to support Windows XP and Vista? Like, probably not. Bug fixes. I think Vista was the first OS I used to play League of Legends on. I think. Yeah, that was 2009, right? I can't remember that long. Bug fixes, don't beat a dead horse. Hackerim is now untargetable on away boards. Hacker should no longer target untargetable units. Jax with Spellslinger now properly gets his empowered attacks. Yeah, I told you guys, there's some Jax bugs. No more participation awards. Items can no longer be equipped on cheering mascots. That happened? I did not know that. What do you guys think about participation awards? Gadgeteen Crest and Crown will no longer be offered outside of 2-1 if you aren't playing Gadgeteen. They see me rolling, now grants the correct amount of AP. Oh, they nerfed this, and apparently it wasn't giving the correct amount of AP. Was that the nerf, or was it just like not supposed to happen at all? Melee Pranksters will now not move towards corner hexes when Prankster is triggered and they are surrounded by other units. 3-star Urgot's Undertow magic damage is now correctly set at 75%. Has anyone ever gotten this? Yeah, I'm sure you guys have had. But fix a bug where some admin gold drop percentages were too high. Fix a bug where Rascal gloves could be equipped on a unit already holding items. Fix a bug where Vi's armor shred amount was not reflecting her tooltip numbers. Added a text specifying the damage type on the tooltip for Echo, Lux, and Lulu's abilities. I'm guessing that's just magic damage. 2-star Leona now deals the proper amount of damage to secondary targets. Nunu is now untargetable when affected by Zephyr. Jinx should no longer fail to stun adjacent targets if her primary target is too large. Oh, I never encountered that. What is considered too large? Like, is that a Scion from previous sets, or is it just like a mech unit? Or is there some unit that like takes up more space than the Hex that's like normal size? I don't even know. Not normal, standard size. Fix a visual bug where Misfortune's Bunny Mercenary Augment Shield visual was not removed at the end of the effect. Fix a bug where Urgot was not benefiting from Fiora's Vitality of the Ox Augment. Yeah, Urgot's attacks are always so weird to interact with. Fix a bug where Aesol's Meteors with Extinction Event did not visually appear larger. Fix various minor text bugs, and Shroud of Even Stillness now correctly grants 250 health. You know how they normally give names for this, like don't beat a dead horse or something like that? Ah, man. You know, I always like skip them, but now I kind of miss them. I don't know. But overall, like in terms of actual changes to the units, honestly, it wasn't that much. It's not affecting like any of the major comps, I would say. But the item distribution thing is definitely what to look out for, because yeah, like getting the 8 components on Wolf Camp or like after Wolf Camp kind of sucked. Like, I mean, like 8 total components. And some games I would win streak stage 2 and 3, and then I'd still have a strong team for stage 4, but I'd lose every stage 4 round, and I never could figure out why. And then I hear people complaining about the 8 augments or 8 items, and then I look back at some of those games and I'm like, oh, I just had less items than other people. And even though my whole team was 2-starred and it was like the good champions or whatever, I was still losing. So it didn't really make sense to me that you can win streak the entirety of the first 2 stages, and then like luck decides whether you get to continue the win streak or even go like 50-50 in stage 4. It was crazy how like there are a lot of games where you just like lose every single round in stage 4, and then you're just all of a sudden from 100 HP to like 20 HP because you lose like 15 per round, let's say. Of course, those are estimates. It's not the exact math, but yeah, overall, I don't really think this changes the meta that much. Like, now that I look at it, there weren't any like major changes. Like, obviously the crowns are affected because you just need them if you're playing that trait, right? Like, if you're playing a certain trait and you get a trait augment, like there's no way it's not the best option because it just has to be, right? If not, the trait augment would be complete garbage. So yeah, cybernetics, man, I don't know if cybernetics are bad because people don't know how to play with them, or if like the numbers are actually bad. Well, what are your guys' thoughts on that? But that's going to be it from me today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I don't think it's going to change the meta that much, but we will be updating the meta snapshot probably on Friday as per usual. And apart from that, I hope to see you guys in the next video.